brother! Why is every Harry Potter character so compelling? What makes them feel like such balanced characters? Well, to be completely candid with you, we actually sat down earlier this week to try and research the significance of Fawkes, explicitly being the one to donate the feathers to Harry and Voldemort's wands, and while I'm not sure that we came to a totally satisfying answer on that front yet, however, our research brought us some fascinating history of the Phoenix and how it relates to the Chinese symbol of the Yin Yang. You remember the Yin Yang, of course, everyone's favorite backpack keychain in the 90s, the koi fish in Avatar. Or probably you just know what it is because you exist and it's a very popular and pretty easy to understand symbol. But did you know that upon further inspection, the Yin Yang is almost a near-perfect metaphor for building characters in Harry Potter? It's actually one of those observations that once you realize it's there, you can't help but notice it everywhere. So today, we reveal the Harry Potter formula. Hey, brother! I just want to give you guys a brief disclaimer right up front that Ron and Hufflepuff is still coming along. What is going to happen to Hufflepuff's Cup? And also, speaking of Hufflepuff's Cup, we have brand new mugs for our podcast through the Griffin door, available now at CarlinBrothersMercantile.com. Okay, so the symbol of the yin and yang can be found throughout media in tons of different places. But in case you're unfamiliar, let's just do a super brief overview. The idea behind the symbol is that these are two opposing forces that are also complementary to one another. The symbol is half black and half white in an almost spiral teardrop formation that comes together to form a circle. Each features a dot that is representative of one within the other. And this is an incredible symbol for storytelling because it suggests that one side is not just inherently more powerful than the other. The Force in Star Wars, for example, with its light and dark sides, or in Moana, the island of Te Fiti becomes Te Kā without her heart, or in Black Panther, T'Challa and Killmonger represent opposing ideals for Wakanda's future. But the Harry Potter saga is steeped with this concept from the very core of its plot, all revolving around the battle between good and evil, Harry Potter and Lord Voldemort. The relationship between the two of them in particular is rife with examples. Upon Harry's first introduction to the wizarding world, he learns that the very wand that chooses him happens to have a brother.
It is curious that you should be destined for this wand when its brother gave you that scar.
And the fact that it happens to be a phoenix feather in particular is very clever because phoenixes themselves are a fantastic example of the yin and yang. Let me explain. When Luna brings Harry to the Ravenclaw common room, the door knocker asks the following question. What comes first, the phoenix or the flame? To which Luna smartly responds, a circle has no beginning. This satisfies the knocker and also satisfies our example because a phoenix does represent both halves of our symbol rather nicely. A phoenix's most notable trait is that they are seemingly immortal, being born over and over and over again from their own ashes. However, despite this immortality, it does not mean that a phoenix cannot die. They're just simply reborn and the cycle continues. These ideals separately are then painted over the story arcs of both Harry and Voldemort, where it goes without saying, Voldemort represents the dark portion and Harry the light. Voldemort's main objective is immortality. He intends to overcome death by way of creating all of his various Horcruxes. Harry, on the flip side, will eventually come to accept death, only to also return from it, born from his own ashes. Okay, maybe not explicitly from his own ashes, because that would have been like cumbersome for the story, but you get my meaning. Harry dies and there's like a pile of ashes and like a little tiny baby Harry is like, But the symbolism continues even further from there. We still need to address the dot that demonstrates how each Voldemort and Harry is representative of each other. And again, this is really eloquently executed. Harry has his signature scar that hurts whenever Voldemort is in power, he has Voldemort's ability to speak to snakes, and is even able to flit in and out of Voldemort's mind. All because Harry actually possesses a piece of Voldemort's own soul within himself, an unusual byproduct of the combination of Lily's sacrificial protection and Voldemort's usage of the unblockable Avada Kedavra curse, and Voldemort's Horcruxes, which mean that he also can't die even if he's obliterated. Then later in the series, Voldemort makes a rather grave, pun intended, mistake by explicitly requiring that he use Harry's own blood to resurrect himself to human form. The end result is Harry, who represents the light, has a piece of dark within him, while Voldemort, who represents the dark, has a piece of light within him. But the analogy still doesn't stop there. These two characters are so specifically tied together because of the prophecy first delivered to Dumbledore by Sybil Trelawney, inside of which their paradoxical and complementary relationship is even further solidified, namely by the specific phrasing, "Neither can live while the other survives." This is the sentiment that first sends Voldemort after Harry as a baby in the first place. But the piece that Voldemort doesn't know about the prophecy is that in attacking baby Harry, he will also mark him as his equal. And again, this goes back to that example of the Force from Star Wars. Neither the light nor dark is capable of being more powerful than the other. It's balanced. Or at least it's supposed to be. That's why you get like the rule of two with the Sith, and so like all the power of the dark side is concentrated into two people, where the Jedi spread it out over even more people. But then there's Order 66 that eliminates most of the Jedi, which means that eventually like Rey is like the last Jedi. So like all the power is just inside of her, then she's super powerful.
I'm all the Jedi.
I've gotten off topic. Back to Harry and Voldemort. Even physically, the yin and yang are present in each character. Voldemort's signature spell, Avada Kedavra, which is always meant to kill, is always green, as is the color of his Hogwarts house Slytherin. While Harry's signature spell, which is always meant to disarm, Expelliarmus, is always red, as is his house of Gryffindor. And yet, that tiny dot is still present in each other via their eyes. Harry's are the vibrant green of his mother, while Voldemort's are the red of a snake's. And what's even more interesting, if you look at a color wheel, the colors of green and red are exact opposites of one another. That being said though, the Yin Yang, while representing opposite forces complementing each other, it can hardly be said that anyone is yearning for a world where Harry and Voldemort just peacefully coexist. In fact, as we said earlier, the prophecy almost forbids that conclusion. Neither can live while the other survives. Not that Harry doesn't try for it. Even down to the very last second, he urges Voldemort to try and feel some remorse, which, of course, he is just simply incapable of doing. But John, we need to take a brief pause right there to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Shopify. Outside of the world of podcasting and theory crafting, I also share another business endeavor with my wife, Alice, who has always had a deep love for all things secondhand. So together we created a company called Nude, not 100 yards from where Jay and I actually started SuperCarlinBrothers. Nude is like the word new, but in the past tense. So you get nude, but the idea is to wear clothes. The business has been so well received in our hometown, but when we launched our website using Shopify, something kind of amazing happened. A whole new world of customers were unlocked, all with their own unique tastes. Pieces that got overlooked in the store were being snatched up online. It's completely changed what kind of things make it into the shop. And not only has it been great for business, but Shopify has so many amazing tools to help you as your company grows. And one of my personal favorite features is this heat map of the globe showing us little dots for everywhere in the world people are visiting the site from. And in doing so, it takes a small town business and literally opens up a whole world of potential customers. So upgrade your business and get the same checkout that we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/SCB. That's all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/SCB to upgrade your selling today. One last time, shopify.com/SCB. This is where the formula for how Harry Potter characters are created comes into play, because many characters all by themselves will represent both sides of the yin and the yang. Dumbledore, for example, is unfailingly gentle in tone and demeanor, but is otherwise immensely powerful. His arc also includes his backstory as a power-hungry youth who arguably elevates Grindelwald to new heights in his rise to power, a mantle that is then picked up by Voldemort upon Grindelwald's defeat in 1945. But then on the flip side, Dumbledore commits the entirety of his later years to the fight against evil. He is so central in the fight against Voldemort and readying Harry for what is to come, and ultimately gives his own life in the greater fight for freedom. Then there's Hagrid, who has a very similar build. As a half-giant, his large physical presence and strength can lead you to believe that he would be formidable in nature.
Sorry about that.
But the reality could not be further from the truth. He is remarkably kind and gentle-hearted. Beyond his physical presence, though, Hagrid is also uniquely positioned as a protector, but then nearly as frequently as the vulnerable party. He is the one to collect Harry from the Potters after the attack by Voldemort. He fights alongside the Order of the Phoenix in both the First and Second Wizarding War, and is known to take a beating and isn't afraid to battle. But then on the flip side, he is constantly in need of help from his friends, whether it's Norbert or Buckbeak or Grop or being sentenced to Azkaban. Moving on from Hagrid, we have the Marauders, who are actually kind of incredible. All of the various ways that this comparison between competing ideals, gels together. James, during his time at school, is a straight-up bully, despite his other most noteworthy characteristic is his tenacity for friendship. Two completely opposite concepts. Then Sirius is equal parts rebel and loyal. He rebels against the path traditionally walked by his ancestors by choosing the Gryffindor path over Slytherin, and has a certain disregard for the rules, but also is most characterized by his immense loyalty, further symbolized by his animagus form as a dog, aka man's best friend.
I'm gonna die rather than betray my friends.
Lupin is kind, quiet, and gentle, and while this is of course not by any fault of his own, but balanced by his affliction as a werewolf, which makes him aggressive, dangerous, and unpredictable. Then finally you have Peter, who walks an all too unusual line between predator and prey. His cowardice and rat affiliation certainly mark him more in the prey column, but uses all of his considerable cunning to align himself with predators. And honestly, the list will continue to go on as well. Dobby is a blend of commitment and independence.
Dobby is a free elf, and Dobby has come to save Harry Potter and his friends.
McGonagall is the line where strict authority meets deep compassion.
Hogwarts is threatened. Man the boundaries. Protect us. Do your duty to our school.
Potter, it's good to see you.
And of course, Snape, who as a double agent, couldn't possibly be any more steeped in opposing ideals. He succeeds in getting Voldemort to believe that he is his agent, but has a goodness hidden deep beneath his dark exterior, fueled by his love for Lily. Then even within his role in the castle and as Dumbledore's actual aide, he also has a darkness he can't shake and is harsh and or downright mean to many students, which coincidentally is fueled by his hatred of James.
Mr. Potter, our new celebrity.
Finally, that brings us back to both Harry and Voldemort. How do they fit into all this? Is Harry simply all light while Voldemort is simply all dark? Each the adjoining half to the other, neither living while the other survives and all that? Well, the answer is yes and no. Harry is the no. He's not just pure light, he is complex and balanced. Harry starts the story as the boy who lived, but ends the story and wins the battle as the master of death. Harry is compassionate and empathetic, he avoids conflict wherever possible, but he's also brave and determined and willing to take on challenges in the fight for the greater good.
Go down the trapdoor. Tonight.
Then there is Voldemort, the exception. Voldemort is not terribly complex. He doesn't have redeeming characteristics. He doesn't have friends and isn't capable of love. His desire for immortality is born from his fear of death. His confidence in his own intelligence is what makes him arrogant to magic's unknown. His pureblood mania is hypocritical to his own half-blood status. Even Voldemort's tragic upbringing as an orphan is contrasted by Harry, who, despite facing similar hardships, chooses to find goodness not only in others, but also within himself. Voldemort is nothing except his own dark foil. Y'all, as always, want to thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. My question for the day is, what other characters do you think feature sort of these competing ideals from within themselves? Be sure to let me know in the towel section down below. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you'd like to see a scathing review of Hagrid, you can check out this video right over here. Or if you'd like to see a video in defense of Hagrid, you can check out this video right over here. But otherwise, guys, thank you so much. Until next time, bye.